All right, here are a few things I want to make sure that you learn right at the very beginning. I don't know, because obviously I'm not there, I can't ask. I don't know how many of you are taking this class in your first semester here at TCC. If this is your first class at TCC, welcome. Good to have you here. Raise your hands so that people at least will know. If you're in your second semester, some of this will be more familiar. Anybody here that started in like January? What about earlier than that? Anybody here that's been here for more than a year? That's like, this is their last term, they're about to finish up and leave? Again, I can't see that, but I hope you guys know. So here's some stuff that's worth telling you right away. If you already know it, I apologize. So how much time should you expect to spend as a college student on college? The rule of thumb is teachers tend to expect that you're going to spend 2 hours outside of class for every 1 hour inside of class. That is, in this class, we spend 3 hours a day in class, 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I'll call it 3. That means I could reasonably expect you to spend 6 hours a day on homework. That seems like an insane amount of work, but it's a really fast class. We're going to do all the same assignments that we would normally. On a normal class during the main term, this class would meet for an hour 3 times a week. And it would be reasonable for me to assign 9 hours worth of homework for that 3 hours worth of class. Sorry, 6 hours worth of homework for that 3 hours worth of class. So we would do in here the whole first week on day 1. That's what we're doing today. So that whole 6 hours worth of homework that we would do on the first week would come to the second day of class. Basically, every day of class is like a whole week's worth in the main term, in this May mini-mister. So your time commitment might be a whole lot more than it looks like. If you look at it on paper, you only have class from noon to 3 and then you're done. That sounds like you've got lots of free time. You've got your whole morning, you've got your whole evening, you can go get a job. That's probably not true. College does require you to do a fair amount of homework, does require you to do a fair amount of reading. So make sure you plan that into your schedule before you go ahead and take a job and make some various other commitments, before you decide I'm going to be taking that Friday off and going out of town and so on. This is a lot. How does a professor come up with that sort of a number? Why is it 2 hours outside of class for every hour inside of class? Well, how many credits is full-time in a main semester, regular main semester class? 12 to 15 credits is what most students take. The old school thought was 15 credits, but most students take 12, 13, 14, or 15 credits. You have to take at least 12 to be full-time. What does full-time mean? What does a person commit to if they have a full-time commitment, like a full-time job? That's 40 hours a week, right? Full-time work is 40 hours a week, approximately. Some people work 36, some people work 50, but around 40 hours a week. If you're a full-time student, that is to say you're taking 12 to 15 credits in a main term regular semester, the idea is you're spending 40 hours a week, like it's your full-time job. That's what full-time means. You're spending full-time on being a student. So you can't take that many credits and expect to also be working full-time and also have a life. The idea is if you're taking 12 credits, you're in class for 12 hours, then you have the rest of that 40 hours worth of homework. And 12 times 2 is 24. 24 plus 12 is 36. That's about 40. And 15 and 15 is 30, plus the 15 of being in class, that's 45. That's about 40. So the idea, 2 hours out for every hour in, gets you close to 40 hours a week. In our class, we're going a lot faster, so your commitment is going to be a lot higher. The regular term is a 40-hour over the course of 16 weeks. We're doing it in 3 weeks, so that's like 5 times faster. So if you're taking any other classes in the summer, you've bitten off an awful lot, so make sure you give yourself plenty of time to chew. The time tends to look easier at the beginning than it gets near the end. Things get piled on and get overwhelming. So make sure you give yourself some free time to recover later. Don't try to schedule every hour of every day. Another thing that you need to know right away, when is the last day to change your schedule? Well, main term classes started last week, and the last day to add a main term class is already beyond us. It's already behind us. Friday was the last day to add a main term class. This semester, the May mini-mester that starts today, the last day to add a class is the end of today. The last day to drop a class and get your money back is tomorrow. So if you want to change your schedule, you got to do it right away. So that's part of why I'm recording all these videos, so that you know what I'm like, so that you're not just trying to guess based on the substitute whether you want to stay in this class or not. I want you to see me so you have a sense of what I'm going to do, what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to run the class. I would do more talking to you instead of at you if I were there. But I want to be myself as much as I can. If you want to make any modifications to your schedule, you can still do that, but you got to do it right away. What is the policy for absences? In the main semester, which we're not in, the official TCC policy is if you miss more class than that class meets in a regular week, then the instructor can drop you from the class for absences, excessive absences. But the way they calculate that is based on the number of hours the class actually meets. So this class in the main semester on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class meets 3 times a week for an hour, or on a Tuesday, Thursday class meets 2 times a week for an hour and a half. That is, it's a 3-credit class, which means it meets for 3 hours. An instructor is allowed to withdraw you if you miss 4 hours. So I'm allowed to drop you if you miss 4 hours. That means on your second day of absent, I can drop you from the class for this semester because we meet 3 hours in one day. If you miss more than 3 hours, I can drop you. That's the official TCC policy. Different instructors have different specific policies. Our department sets a policy for us, which will be on the next slide. I'll show you what that policy is. But I also want you to know that different instructors have different policies for what counts as an absence. You want to check your syllabus for each class as to see exactly what they consider to be an absence and exactly how many absences you're, quote, allowed to have. Don't think of it as skip days like it was in high school. Think of it as, if I have a problem, these are days that I could miss. In this class, you're going to miss a whole week's worth of stuff if you miss a day, so don't plan to miss anything. If you do plan to miss, if you know you're going to have to miss, talk to your instructor before the absence rather than after. Even if it's only 2 minutes before. If you have a flat tire, text them right away and say that you have a flat tire, that you'll be there as soon as you can. If you know you're going to have to be absent because of a doctor's appointment, or you know you're going to have to give somebody a ride someplace, or you know you're going to be out of town or whatever, tell them as soon as possible. If you're sick and you wake up and you can't make it to class, tell them as soon as you can. Don't wait till the next time you come to class and tell them that you had a problem. It's much more believable if you tell me before. And I'm also much more likely to be sympathetic to you and help you to get ready, to stay caught up, than I am to go back and catch you up. If you ask me on Wednesday, what are we gonna do today? I can't be there. It's on the top of my head, I'm gonna tell you right then. If you ask me on Friday, what did we do on Wednesday? I'm gonna have to go back and figure it out, and that just, for any instructor, that's going to make them less likely to be helpful and friendly about it. So as soon as you can, contact your instructors if you're going to be absent. Different instructors have different policies as to what counts as an absence. Instructors at TCC are allowed to set their own attendance policies. So an instructor can mark you absent for being 5 minutes late to class. If you come to class 5 minutes late, I can mark you absent for that day, for the whole 3 hours. If you leave class early, I'm allowed to mark you absent for that. It's up to me what counts. If you decide to get up and go take a break in the middle of class, I don't care, but some instructors do. So for me personally, I'm going to count you present if you're there during class time at all. I'll mark you tardy, which is the only word we've got for it, if you come late, or if you leave early, or if you're not involved in class. I'll mark you as present, but you won't get full participation credit, and I'll mark you as tardy for whatever that means. But notice that other instructors might count an absence for being late, or might count, say, 2 tardies is 1 absence, or 3 tardies is 1 absence, or being disruptive one day counts as an absence, or whatever. Look at your instructor's policies for each class.